guys, it's Kayla here from Journey Dog Training, and I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about surviving Thanksgiving specifically because it's in 2 days, and also Christmas, and really just any time you've got a big family gathering coming up. So for those of you who don't know me, I own Journey Dog Training, which is an online dog behavior consulting service. I'm a certified dog behavior consultant, and I offer both email and video dog behavior help to people anywhere in the world. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check it out at journeydogtraining.com. I also am launching a podcast in early 2019. You guys can check that out at canineconvos.com. That's canine all spelled out, C-A-N-I-N-E, convos, C-O-N-V-O-S.com. So check that out as well, and you guys can get just even more of me. And it'll be without my face, so you guys won't have to look at my air conditioner. So I am not going to be able to spend Thanksgiving with my family this year, but I wanted to make sure that you guys and your dogs had as great of Thanksgiving and Christmas as possible. So I don't know about you guys, but my family's Thanksgiving and Christmas gets pretty crazy. There's my grandparents, and then they had 5 kids. They all come usually, and then they all have 2 to 4 kids, so it's big family, and then all of those, I am actually the second youngest of that level, the cousins, so most of my cousins actually have kids, and those kids also come, so we've got like, what is that, 3 grandparents, kids, cousins, kids, so we've got 4 generations, and those cousins' kids range in age from literally a couple months old up to 18, so almost as old as me, actually. I'm not just 18, I guess, but, teenagers. So we've got all those people. It's probably at least 20 people easily. And then they often are at least 5 dogs. We've got a pointer mix. We've got a brand new little pointer puppy. And we've got this little Aussie hound mix thing that's a year or 2 old. We've got my dad's 15-year-old lab. We've got my 5-year-old border collie. And there's often, some beagles thrown in there from various cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff. So we've got a bunch of dogs. It's crazy. And a lot of those dogs are not necessarily used to being around little kids because a lot of the dogs come from the families that don't have kids. And the ones that are don't know the kids as well. And it's just, everyone is a little bit stressed. It's not just us that get a little bit worried about holidays and just how much that is. So the first thing is, if everything that I tell you guys here today sounds like a lot, then try to think of a way that you can leave your dogs at home and not bring them to family Thanksgiving. So that might mean boarding them if you're hosting, or if you guys are just going to be gone for a long day, you can get a WAG walker or a rover sitter. I just got a text from WAG reminding me that they have walkers available on Thanksgiving Day. Dog sitters, something. If everything that I'm about to tell you guys sounds like too much, then go ahead and just don't bring your dog. Because at this point, it is 2 days before Thanksgiving, and it is too late to train. It is too late to realize that, oh God, my dog is, a holy terror behaviorally, and this is going to be a disaster. We can't fix that right now. But what we can do is I do have 5 tips for you guys that we can do pretty much day of Thanksgiving. So if you guys are listening to this on Thanksgiving Day, on Christmas Day, or, ideally a little bit beforehand, you can still use all of these tips. All right, so let's get started. Number 1 is going to be use baby gates. They are your friend. Baby gates are almost always your friend. So we use baby gates in my family for a couple different reasons. We use baby gates to keep dogs out of the kitchen while we're prepping food, rather than just kind of constantly trying to shoo the dogs out and scold them. They don't know. Even the dogs that normally are trained to stay out of the kitchen, it's not their kitchen, and they don't generalize, or the other dog's in the kitchen, so maybe I should be too. It's just put a baby gate on up. We also, have some 7-year-old, 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 12-year-old cousins that tend to forget and leave doors open. Baby gates are a great way to keep your dog from escaping. The other thing is, so we have a pointer that recently left our family. She just died, but she was pretty seriously food aggressive, and we would use the baby gates to keep her separate from the other dogs while the other dogs or her was eating, because she would get into some relatively serious dog fights over food if we didn't prevent that. So We also have used baby gates basically, as I said, we've got a 15-year-old lab and then that little, 2-year-old Aussie healer mix thing. That Aussie healer really wants to play with the 15-year-old, and the 15-year-old is really arthritic and she doesn't have many teeth left, but if we let it go on for too long, that 15-year-old lab might bite the puppy. And it's just easier for everyone. Our 15-year-old really appreciates it when we can just put her behind a baby gate and give her a break. So use baby gates. Also, if you're anything like us, there's not necessarily enough seats, so people are eating food on the ground sometimes. Use baby gates to keep your food safe when you're trying to sit on the floor and watch the Packers hopefully win a game. Or is that just me? The other is going to be give your dogs breaks. And so think of your dog like a 2-year-old. Your 2-year-old or a 2-year-old might not necessarily realize when he or she is tired and when he or she needs a break. She might fuss when you try to take her away, and she might fuss when you try to put her down for a nap. Your dog is probably the same way, but just like with a 2-year-old, at times you're going to need to be kind of the bad cop adult in the room and say, no, playtime is over, you need to take a break. So I really recommend doing that multiple times per day. Maybe 20 minutes out of the hour, maybe 1 hour every couple hours. You guys can kind of figure out a schedule that works for you. And I actually use that as a great time to take a break myself mentally. I am super extroverted. I love my family. We're not one of those families that really dreads Thanksgiving, or at least I'm not. And we're really lucky that way. But I still, there are times where it's just like, oh my gosh, I need a break. So I will take my dog for a walk. We go around the block a couple times, just 20-minute little decompression walk. It's great for both of us. I'll go into another room and we'll both just kind of flop on the bed and for a couple minutes. Or I'll put him in the crate with a stuffed Kong and I'll go back and do some dishes or something and just, hide for a couple minutes, whatever. But, chances are if you're feeling a little bit stressed about the holidays, your dog is also going to be feeling stressed. So keep that in mind. And again, you might have to enforce those breaks because your dog might still look like she's having fun, but she still probably needs those breaks. Again, just like a 2-year-old. And the biggest reason that this is really important, you guys, is because of what's known as trigger stacking. So you guys are really familiar with trigger stacking, likely. It's that day where your alarm goes off a little bit late or it's funky or you have no idea how, but your alarm is wrong. And then you spill your morning coffee on yourself and then you have to run back and change shirts or go to work in a stained shirt because it's already just too late. And then some dude cuts you off in traffic and then that lady didn't hold the elevator for you and you've got to go up 17 flights of stairs and now you're late for your meeting and your coworker, left her papers on your desk again and you lose it. And you way overreact. And that's exactly what our dogs are at risk of when we don't give them good breaks during Thanksgiving. So even if your dog is normally really good around kids, great with other dogs, good with people, you can still get into some sticky situations with dogs. And this is where a lot of dog bites happen, is basically a trigger stacking scenario. So this is especially common with dogs that aren't really comfortable around kids or whatever, but it's also totally possible to have this happen with a dog that normally is great with kids or adults or whatever. This isn't just about kids and dogs. So it's just your dog, he's in the car and he's coming with you and then there's food everywhere but he can't eat it and that's stressful, and then someone stepped on his tail and then there's just a lot of people around and it's a lot of noise and it's a lot of stimulation and then the baby crawls over and then so again, giving breaks is one of the best ways to kind of decompress that trigger stacking. And I really, really love using really positive breaks. It's not just shut your dog in the crate and leave him there. It's, can we take him for a walk and let him really decompress and enjoy himself? Can we take him and do some training? Can we do some nose work, hide some treats for him in a spare bedroom or something? Or can we just lock him up with a stuffed Kong and really let him go to town on that? Something that not just takes your dog away from the action, but actually makes him feel better. So number 3, this is actually a people-centric one. I want you guys to try to think about giving instructions, not corrections, for your family. So let's, again, use my own dog as an example. My own dog really doesn't like when people get in his face. He gets really nervous. He puts his ears back. He's growled at people before. When they're kind of trying to rub on him and give him kisses, give him a hug. He really, really doesn't like that. He actually bit someone over the course of the summer when it was a drunk friend of ours, and he was really, not letting Barley back away and was really trying to love him, and Barley hated it, and Barley let him know. So since that incident, and before then as well, what I've tried really hard to do is when someone's coming over, someone's like, oh, hey, can I pet your dog? I try to say right away, yes, please pet him on the butt or the chest. He doesn't like people in his face, no hugs or kisses. And people receive that a lot better than if I'm like, yes, you can pet him. And then as they try to go in for the kiss, I'm like, oh, no, not like that, not like that. People don't like hearing that. It sucks. They feel like they're embarrassed. They've been told they're wrong, and they are, but like, it's better people skills if you can warn people ahead of time with instructions rather than corrections. And this is also great, if you've got a forgetful family member, a little kid, then you get to tell them twice, and you might even end up saying essentially, hey, remember how I asked you not to do that? And then that can feel better. So it's not even necessarily in your delivery. It's just warning people ahead of time. So think about what might set your dog off, what your dog doesn't like, what your dog's uncomfortable with. And if you know that ahead of time, warn your family. Let them know. And I'm not saying it has to be like this big, scary, huge deal. Like, my dog is lovely with people. He just doesn't want kisses. And people are really, really good hearing that. And I would much rather tell people that ahead of time than have to go around policing everyone's interactions with him. So number 4 is going to be give your dog something to do. Especially when your dog is kind of confined away from the action. Give him something to chew on, bully sticks, pig's ears, Kongs, all that good stuff. Hide some treats. You can literally just take your dog's kibble and hide it around a room. And if you do have a dog that doesn't have any resource guarding issues and you've only got one dog, you can also just leave him out with something to chew on, but I wouldn't do that when there are multiple dogs around, and I definitely wouldn't do that if a dog has any history of resource guarding. But if at all possible, give your dog something to do. Again, those intermittent walks or whatever are going to be really great for that as well. And then number 4, this is obvious, I hope, but watch the kids, watch the table. A lot of stuff that we eat for Thanksgiving is straight up dangerous for your dog. Those cooked turkey bones can send you to a very expensive veterinary ER visit very quickly, and there's a whole bunch of other things, depending on what you have on your Thanksgiving table, that are potentially really dangerous for your dog. Also, it's a huge bummer to have your dog steal a huge chunk of the turkey. Or the whole thing. So, just watch the table. That's where those baby gates come in handy, and then watch the kids in particular. But also if you've got, you've got that one relative that maybe needs a little bit more supervision. And, if you really don't feel like you can commit to supervising and watching the kid, watching the table, maybe that's a good sign that it is not the best option to bring your dog or bring your dog to Thanksgiving or Christmas or wherever. So again, you guys can then look into doggy daycare, dog boarding, Rover, WAG, all these different things to get someone to care for your dog. And if you're just going to be gone for, 6 or 8 hours, like if your relatives live relatively close, then it's just a normal work day. Don't feel like you're being a party pooper by not bringing your dog. Even though your relatives might give you a hard time for it. We actually, we had a wedding at a resort earlier this year that was dog friendly. It was a dog friendly venue, but the dogs weren't actually allowed at the wedding reception. And everyone was really, really bummed that we chose to get a dog sitter for Barley. And we got a lot of people who were asking about him and wanted to meet him or wanted to see him again. And honestly, the whole night I just was so relieved that I did not have him, because, even during cocktail hour when you were out walking the grounds and Barley could have been with us, it was so nice to not be in heels and holding my drink and being tugged around by the dog and, who's petting him and what are they doing and they're drunk, and it was just really nice to not have him. So if you guys are hearing everything that I'm saying and you're thinking, I don't know if I want to do all this for my dog on the holidays, I just want to relax, then don't bring your dog. And again, your relatives might be a little bit bummed, but it's okay. It's okay. Just focus on the people instead. And again, there are so many different options for how to get your dog taken care of during the day, without bringing your dog here and then needing to do all this constant supervision and the baby gates and this and that. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, as I'm saying this, maybe the dog should stay home. So those were my 5 Thanksgiving survival tips for dog-friendly Thanksgiving. You guys can see all of this in a blog post if you go to journeydogtraining.com/Thanksgiving. Again, journeydogtraining.com/Thanksgiving. And again, I'm Kayla of Journey Dog Training. I'm a certified dog behavior consultant, and I offer online and remote behavior training options for dogs with mostly behavior issues, but we also take on obedience, crate training, all that good stuff, via video, phone, email, text, all that good stuff. It's 21st century. I can reach you guys pretty much wherever. I currently have clients in, I think, 6 different countries. So let me know if you guys need help. And again, if you guys want to be getting more from me, you be sure to subscribe here on YouTube. I put out 1 video a week, roughly. And then also starting in early 2019, I will be putting out 1 podcast episode a week along with the excellent trainers at Canis Major Dog Training in Denver and Pause and Reward Training in Boulder, Colorado. So that's something else to look forward to as well if you want to continue learning about how to live a better life with your dog. So we'll see you guys next time.